I'll play you that too. I unraveled my A string last week. So I have a new one. Oh yeah, right. Zoom update. Okay, so I'm going to play you Lark in the Morning now. It's in the key of D. And like I said, oh, there's David. Like I said, it's an extremely popular tune. And I'll just show you here how it goes. And there's David. Whoops. Hold on here. Okay. So I'll just show you how this goes. That's the Lark in the Morning. Okay. Have you ever played that, David?
No, never have.
You've
Never
heard of
have.
it though, eh?
Yes, that's another Irish one, right?
An Irish one, and it's a very popular one. Very,
Yeah.
very.
No, I don't have the music for it.
Okay.
So,
Well, we'll get it after, but first we're going to. I was just saying it's a similar tune to Banished Misfortune in that it's a multi-parter and it's in the key of D, and it's very, very popular tune.
okay.
So first of all, let's warm up our key of D, and we're going to work on Banished Misfortune for a few minutes. Okay. Okay, D major, start on D, up to A, down to A. Here we go. Ready, go. Okay, let's try the arpeggio, starting on the low A and then D. Ready, go. Okay, now, how was that? How does everybody feel? Oh, able. Okay. How does everybody feel about D so far? Did it go okay?
Yep.
Let's do it again then, right away, exactly like that, except better. Just gonna mute you here, David. Okay, here we go. Ready, go. that feeling now? Still good? Okay, good. Let's up the speed considerably. Yai, die, die, die. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, mine was good, except for accidentally playing an A major arpeggio instead of a D major arpeggio. But other than that, but the A was good. Anyway, how did you guys feel at that tempo? Is it still okay? You notice any flatness or anything like that? Because that often happens when we go faster. Let's do it again and see if you can pay attention. See if that happens. If you do notice flatness, just press a little harder across the board. Okay, let's do it again. Same speed. 1, 2, 3, go. Still good? Not suffering too bad? That's good. Now, did we do the arpeggio double stops last time? Let's give that a go, okay? Because you're going to be using them in this tune for sure, and in the Banish as well. So, double stops in the arpeggio pattern. Okay, ready? And we're going to do 2 per set of double stops. A down bow and then an up bow. Ready, go. Oops, I did it wrong. Sorry, let's do it again. 2 per set. Ready, go. Okay, how was that? It's working okay? Paul's kind of like, ugh. Tell me what happens when you try to do double stops there, Paul. Like, tell me some of the difficulties you ran into there.
Well, I mean, tuning is a lot more difficult, or rather, maybe it's more obvious when you're out of tune because it does that kind of like.
Yes, now that is the danger of playing double stops, especially if it's with an open string, is that it's going to show up if you're out of tune. But also, you can use it to tune, right? You can go. You hear that click in? So I'll do it again. I'm going to slide from flat into that double stop, and I want you to listen for it clicking in. I saw everybody could hear when it clicked in there. That's a really good way to practice them, actually, because of that. There's no mistaking that. When you hear that interval click, you don't even need a tuner. You know that it's good to go. And also, I don't know if you noticed, but I slide into every note I play. I mean... See that? It's a very normal Celtic thing to do. So actually practicing it is a really good idea. Okay? Now, I find that it's a lot easier to tune those intervals going from flat up than the other way around. Okay? I don't know why. The ear hates to go down. I always say it's like a ladder, going down a ladder backwards. Like, you know where it is, and you know you should be hitting it, but you're not there, you know? So it's much easier to go up. So that's what I would suggest when you're doing that. If it's with an open string, to bring it up until you hear that interval click in. Okay? Anybody else have difficulties they want to tell me about with the double stops? Let's do it again then. I love them. I love practicing them. Trying to get them to sound really nice. Okay, here we go. Ready, go. Good? Excellent. Okay. Next week, we're going to try this with the double stops. Now, this is what I call hand, 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 arm, arm. Okay? And it's a Suzuki exercise. It's where they get you to play notes using just your hand, 4 of them, and then your arm. I'll show you what it looks like. See how that works? Hand, 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 arm, arm. Because that's 90% of fiddling, is hand and arm. See that? And the arm only comes in once in a while. But you want it to be smooth. You want to be able to switch from hand to arm really smoothly and easily. And that's the point of that exercise. Now, I think that we might have done it a long time ago, maybe not with any of you guys, on a single string. Okay, which is a really good idea too. But it's even better on a double stop. Even better. It's like running with leg weights on. Then when you do it on a single string, you'll find it much easier and actually easy, you know? And then that's how you start to build your speed. David was talking about building speed. And if you can bow mostly with your hand and fingers, then that's gonna gain you about 10 points on the metronome right away, as soon as you get the hang of it. Because this works so much faster than this. So it's really nimble and easy, but you got to get the hang of it. So that's what we'll start working on, okay? So when you're working with the video, everybody, I want you to try it at home. Try doing, first of all, double stops, of course, just long ones. And then try doing the... Because with the bow arm, everything goes big to small. You'll learn to do it on the big, and then as a result, you'll learn to do it on the small scale. See that? That's what they always said, big to small for the bow. Everything you do on the big scale has to be done on the small scale. See that? So like for instance, when I'm doing my down bow, my wrist is leading and I finish the down bow and my hand finishes the down bow and now it's turned around and up I go. And then when I'm finished my up bow, the hand finishes and down I go. See that? The wrist turns around again. That's with the arm. With the hand, check it out. Up bow, down bow. Up bow, down bow. Same exact movements except I'm using just my hand. Okay? So you'll learn to do it on the big and then you'll take that and you'll learn to tighten it down to the small. Okay, and that's what I want you guys to play with this week. And then when we work on it next time, I think it'll be quite good. Okay? Okay, Banish Misfortune. So let me get it up on the screen so I don't play improvised music. The other good thing is that about this new fiddle player, James Mackay, is that we have a lot of music together, like in common. And in fact, he reminded me of a great tune called Miss Susan Cooper. So, have you guys ever heard of that tune? It's a Scottish tune. I can't think of it right now, but it's in the key of D. And so we played Bogaloggin, which is just a wicked tune, Strathspey Scottish. And then we played Miss Susan Cooper and the Mason's Apron. And I often, when I'm playing with these fiddle players, I challenge them to play the variations on the Mason's Apron. Have you ever heard of the variations on the Mason's Apron? Anybody? Have you heard of Sean Maguire? Yes. No? Sean Maguire was probably the best Irish fiddle player that ever lived. He was from Belfast. He was an unbelievable player. And very, very conceited, as a result of it. He called himself Paganini, you know. He would sign his letters, Sean Maguire Paganini. And anyway, but he was a beautiful, absolutely beautiful player, and he came up with all the variations on the Mason's Apron. So the Mason's Apron, you know. You guys play that tune? If you don't, you should. Oh, we'll get it. You have to get it. It's a must-have. I'll just play it for you so you know what it sounds like. So that's kind of a familiar melody, right? Yeah. Then, Sean Maguire variations. See, that's only a few of them. There's actually 17 variations that he wrote on the Mason's Apron. And the Celtic Orchestra took it on last winter to try to learn some of them. And there was a group, I called them the Sean Maguire group. And we did it after rehearsal on Wednesdays. And we spent a half hour. And I think we got about 8 or 9 of the variations. And the thing is, it's such good practice in a couple of ways. That when you learn a variation, you better have that melody of the tune really solid. You know what I mean? So you end up learning the tune like you wouldn't believe. Like you know it in your head. You'll never forget it if you can play a few variations, you know? And then of course they're fun. And also they're interpretations of the melody. So by the time you work through 4 or 5 variations on a tune, then you're really, really understanding all the ways the melody could go. You know, if it was you writing the Mason's Apron, you know? Because have you ever noticed that? Like, why do they decide these things are right? Like, why didn't he just decide to go? These are things that haunt me, you know? Anyway, so variations are very, very good to get. And they don't need to be complicated, but any tune that has them, it's a good thing to do. And that's why the multi-parted tunes are so good. Anyway, shall we? Banish. Now let's see, how fast should we start? Is that reasonable? Okay, good. A reasonable tempo. All right then, let's do it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Take a breather. Now, everybody looked very happily sawing away there. But I only have looks to go by, so how did you do? Yeah? No problems?
Well, it's still fast for me, but I'm catching up.
It's fast. What happens?
Yep. I forget notes.
You forget
I miss
notes.
notes. Yeah, I miss notes in between.
Oh, the in-betweeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about that because first of all, the in-between notes, I call them connecting notes or pickup notes, right? Because
Mhm.
each phrase kind of has a pickup note that connects it with the phrase before. And first of all, it's the first place where people change the music. So when you get a different player who plays a different version of a tune, it's always the pickup notes and the connecting notes that get changed first, you know, and then the endings. So with the connecting notes, there's a reason why they're hard to get in, and it's because you've probably heard many choices over the years, even with a tune like that, because it's so ubiquitous. The other thing is that it's not a big deal. Skip them. Play them the next time around. That's the nice thing about our music, eh? You always have another chance. It's coming around again, especially with the Irish stuff. I remember when I was going to the Irish sessions, I was like, geez, thank God they play them 4 or 5 times because you get a chance to get them. You know what I mean? Whereas in Cape Breton, they only play them twice. That's it. And then it's on to the next tune in the same key. So anyway, so yeah, so just be patient with that. Okay, it's not going to be a problem. How about you, Paul? You do good?
Yeah, I mean, I find that I need to play, I need to hear and see, I need to hear and see you like when I play, otherwise I will go out of out of tempo. But then I started tapping my foot and that helped. So I
Oh yeah.
normally, so that's actually a question I was going to ask you, like what are your what's the because even when practicing, um sometimes it's hard to tap your foot and practice at the same time, but you notice that almost your foot tells you when you stop tapping, you're having a problem with this, almost like a section of the song. It's almost another thing that, because sometimes you might slow down, and if you're too used to slowing down, you won't, you know what I'm saying? Like, but with
I
your
know what
foot,
you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Now, the foot, use of the foot. It's a very good question, and it's a topic that has come up here and there. And my thoughts on the foot are that if you already use your foot, if your foot comes down while you're playing, right? And it just happens, then that's great. And I really think it's excellent. It can, like you said, it can really push the music along if you're having trouble not slowing down, right? And it can really keep you on track. But if you don't use the foot, I don't suggest it because it's just another thing to learn how to do.
okay.
And if it comes, it comes. You know what I mean? But not everybody uses their foot. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the fiddle player from the Chieftains, Sean Keane, who was their fiddle player for 30 some years, never moved his foot. It never moved, you know? And then, and this, he's one of the best players ever, right? And then there was this guy in Ireland that I met. His name is Liam O'Connor. Great guy. One of the best fiddle players I've ever heard. He's like just unbelievable. And he knows every tune. And I was teaching with him at a thing called the Scary's Traditional Music Weekend. And he was playing. And his foot made no sense at all. He was playing, it was this tune called The Beauty Spot, which I love. And his foot was doing this. It was going. And it was the strangest thing. And me and my father were looking at it thinking, Jesus Christ, what the hell is he doing with his foot? And then we did this thing where it was a presentation where we were supposed to talk about learning from your father. So it was me and my father and Liam O'Connor and his father, who was a flute player. And he was part of the Pipers Club in Dublin, a wicked player, wicked flute player. And they were playing together, and the two of them had the same foot. Exactly the same weird thing. The strangest thing. So it's not the most important thing. You know what I mean? Like that's the takeaway is that if you don't use the foot, it's not a big deal. But if it comes down and comes down pretty reliably, and then it can be useful and you can work on it. Okay? The other thing is that there's two kinds of foot, and I don't know which one you do, but there's heel up and heel down. So I'll show you. So Cape Bretoners do heel up. So
I
you
like it.
hop up like that, and the whole thing comes down. Bang! You know. Whereas all the Irish people I know, they all go heel down, just the toe. Sometimes they get a little bit of this going, kind of a little rhythm. It's kind of like the French thing, but not quite. It's good. Let's see if I can get it in. There it is. See that?
Oh,
But that's the Irish people. But so that's kind of the two ways that you can bash your foot against the floor, and it's good to know which one you do because if you're trying to work on it, you can kind of isolate it. You know what I mean? Which one do you do usually?
well, if I do the toes up, my shins start to hurt. So I actually find the heel up is easier on my foot.
Oh yeah. So
But I don't do the whole. I don't launch my entire foot airborne like that. I just do it
Oh.
all. I just do it a halfway. So I don't know if that's not a valid way to do it. But
Oh, it's fine. Whatever way it comes down is fine. But it's good to be aware. You know what I mean? It is good to be aware. So you're talking about the shin thing, right? When
Yeah.
you're doing it with your toe, and that reminds me of the hi hat on the drums. Your shin can get really, really tired almost right away.
Mm.
And is that what you find?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it starts to distract me because it starts to hurt, and I'm like, I don't want to.
And here's how you battle that on the hi hat. On the hi hat, anyway.
Mm.
You put down your effort, right, and then you completely relax. Completely relax the whole leg. Now, hopefully, when you do the effort, the bounce, if you do it right, the bounce should bring your foot back up mostly. See, and then you're not using that shin muscle.
I see.
It's
Right.
because it's on the up that it hurt that it's such a strain on your shin muscle. It's only on the
Right.
up, not on the down.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out a way, that's what I did with the hi hat. You figure out a way to relax it on the up, and you get a lot more mileage out of it before it starts really going to town. Because even with that, like depending on the tune, after a while I'd be like, oh my god. So it does happen, but yeah. So if you are a foot user, I do encourage it. A metronome is good. Doing it with your scales is really good. Whatever, you know. But it's good to strengthen it if you use it. But if you don't, I wouldn't get into it. How about you, Sandy? Do you use your foot?
I try to, Dan. You know, in Anne's classes, she's always using her feet. And
Oh
she
yeah.
yeah. So she really encourages us to try and tap with our feet.
Oh, she does, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Now, I usually say don't worry about it if you don't usually do it. And the thing is that with some people it comes anyway on its own. And that's the other thing. It's supposed to be. It's for me. It's a completely involuntary response. Like I never think, okay, I'm going to start tapping my foot now. The only time I do that is when I'm playing with the boys at McVeigh's and they start what my dad would say dragging their arses, which they do frequently, and that means that I have to start pounding on the stage, right? It's the drummer in me, and they go, oh yeah. So once in a while I do that, but otherwise it's just an involuntary. It's supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be something you kind of put in there. You know what I mean?
Well, that's really good to know because that takes a lot of weight off my shoulders there.
Yeah, don't sweat it too much. You know what I mean? Now, if it does start working, like I said to Paul, it can be useful, but it's not something you have to get going to be a fiddle player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how about you, David? How do you find the foot? You're muted. You got to unmute.
Okay, I'll do what you missed. Ah, I generally, if I'm gonna tap my foot at all, it's generally the Irish style, I guess,
Yeah.
the toe up and down. Um, but like the last week in particular, I've been using the metronome all the time, so I really don't have to.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't play with the metronome going all the time. I've got it in the headphones, so it doesn't bother my wife too much, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, but with the metronome going, I really don't need to worry about it too much. Uh, I've noticed, like in the Gaelic College Keeleys, the Wednesday night things, I've noticed that a lot of the fiddlers have the foot that they stomp is on the same side as the piano player. I sort of assumed that was it was the way of keeping the piano player, this is what I'm doing kind of thing. So,
I don't think it's on purpose. Like I said, for most people, it's completely involuntary. But it's so funny that you mentioned which side of the body they're using because my dad used to screw with people. Oh my God, we go down the states and he called them the tartan people, Because they'd come up to you with some kind of bit of tartan on their clothes and tell you about their heritage and stuff like that. And
yes.
and so we do these workshops, and if somebody would say, "So I noticed that you tap your right foot, and not your left foot, right, when you play. Is there any
Mhm.
reason for that?" And he would say, "My father made me promise on his deathbed that I would only ever tap my right foot, not my left foot, like those other bastards." It was so much fun. But as far as I know, for most of us anyway, it's completely involuntary movement. Okay, and like I said, some of us don't do it, and some of us do it in the way that makes absolutely no sense in the world. Okay?
Every caper that I've ever seen fiddle over the last 6 months, and I've been watching a lot of capers fiddle, they all, stamp their foot. I
Oh,
haven't seen
capers are
anybody who doesn't.
yeah, capers are even more known for it. Like we pound the foot, right? And my whole family did. My dad, it was impossible for him to control. And so when we went in the studio, we tried to go in the studio to make our record in 1990, and it was like, what are we going to do about the foot? Because you can't stop beating it, right? He can't not do it. So we used a couch cushion under his foot.
Okay. Yeah, that would work. Mhm.
But I always say when you're recording, it's such a danger. It's like you either have no foot at all, or you figure out how to get a good sound out of the foot and make it part of the recording. And that's what I did on my record. And me and my brother spent an entire afternoon to get the sound of the foot right in the microphone. We had a microphone on it, and we had 2 pieces of plywood and a rug, just trying different combos until I get a good, reliable, same note every
Yeah.
time, good and reliable, good signal, and then you can work with it.
Mhm.
It's very difficult to stop doing it, like it's, like I say, because it's an involuntary thing. Anyway, so that's the foot. Good discussion. I love that. Okay, let's try it again faster. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Everybody make it? A few dings on your helmet? How'd you do there, David?
Dan, how fast was that last time? Do you
Oh,
got a
good question.
metronome with you?
Good question. I will check it out. What's your guess?
Felt like it was about 90. I don't know.
100!
Oh, really?
Indeed. I'll play it for you so you can believe me. Nobody
Oh,
else.
I believe you. Why would I?
See that? That's about how fast we were playing. So that's actually 105 on my metronome.
Wow.
So that
Yeah.
is good.
That was a little quick for me. That's a little faster than I managed,
Yeah.
this week practicing.
So that would be then, I would call that then an aspirational tempo. Okay, it's the one you're aspiring towards.
Okay,
So
like we're trying for 105, are we?
yes, because if 105 is where you started to feel a little uncomfortable, started to have a little bit of trouble, that's your next aspirational tempo. Because you can almost do it for the most part, but it's a struggle. So that means that's going to be what you work towards. Your practicing tempo, I would put at 95. So 95, making sure you can get everything right over and over and over, and then try it at 105 and see what goes wrong. Back to the 95. Fix anything that might have gone wrong, hopefully nothing.
I generally notch the thing up one number at a time.
Okay.
So if I'm going 90, I go 91, 92, 93,
Now, yep, it works. It's a little longer.
Baby steps kind of thing,
Now, I should tell you that my wife is a notcher upper as well on the metronome. She that's the way she does it too. But she says that it's good to do 3 to 5 marks at a time. So I guess one is okay too, although you don't really feel a difference with one mark on the metronome. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that encourages you though. Because you figure, okay, if you can do 90, you can do 91. Come on, if you can do
Yeah,
91,
totally. That's a
you
good
can do
point.
92.
That's a good point. Definitely a good point. But anyway, so she says it's good to go up by odd numbers when you're notching up on the metronome. Odd numbers. When you go even numbers, I can't remember what she said, but it does something to the time. It changes the context in your mind or something like that. So anyway, so odd numbers. Now, how about you,
Right.
Paul? You running into any problems at 105?
No, I think it was well, yeah, I mean I kind of fell off a couple of times and I have to jump back on.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a little bit odd because when I play on my own, I'm much more reliable hitting the notes. So
Oh, of
it's so
course.
maybe because it's just more things to pay attention to or something. But like I feel like I've practiced it at that even at that speed and played it like much better than.
Oh, of
But
course.
I actually
Yes.
heard a tip where you if you want to play at a certain speed in a session, practice at a higher speed, like than you would normally, even above, just so that you're sort of. I don't know if that. What do you think of that? That was just a random tip I heard on a podcast, but
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I'm getting stuff ready for a show, or like if I have to learn a tune for a band and I'm getting it ready for a show, I'm gonna shoot past the expected performance tempo because I want to be. See, I like to be at a point where I can play with the music, like where I'm not
yeah,
just trying to get it right, but I'm actually messing around with it a little bit. So certainly, if I'm learning a tune for a band, I'll get it much faster than I need to for the show, and so that I can have fun with it on the stage. But
yeah,
I still do it with the slow, 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 try fast method. I still do
right.
it that way. Like the only one I can really use to describe is Tullochorum. So have you ever heard of Tullochorum?
Yes.
David has, yeah. It's a Straspe. It's in the Skinner book, the J. Scott Skinner book. It's an old tune. It's as old as the hills. Reel of Tulloch is what it's based on, and it was in the Sky collection, I think. But what's his name? J. Scott Skinner wrote these variations. And it's the whole 2 pages in the very middle of the Skinner book. And every fiddler in Cape Breton has taken it on and recorded it and tried to do the best job, and so and me included. So when I was working on it, my goal with it, I put it on my record, and my goal with it was to do all of the left-hand stuff that's written in the ancient music, and which nobody does. And just a couple of people have tried a couple of the things. So I wanted to get all that in. And so I was going slow, 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 slow. And then I would kind of blast away at it and see what stuff didn't work, you know, and then kind of take those bits and back to the slow. You got, see, it helps to play stuff at a tempo where you have a chance of getting it right. Because if not, you're just making failed attempts, you know. Now, not to say I don't do that. I do that. When I was trying to get the Irish, I played along with Dee Dannon recordings, and there was a lot of that. And it's really good because you know what they say? It's one thing to run. It's another thing to run when there's a lion chasing you. And so that's what I find Zoom is good for, because the lion is chasing you. I can't slow down and wait for you. I can't jump ahead a little bit to join you, which is what I normally do. I can't help it. So when people come in person, that's what happens. Whereas on Zoom, I'm going to start and you're going to keep up or you're going to die. So it's good for you, actually. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how about you, Sandy? How did you get along?
Not bad, Dan, actually.
Good.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling good about it. My speed's coming up.
Great. Okay, let's try it one more time then.
Okay.
Excellent. Same speed. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. No misfortune around here. Okay, Lark in the Morning. Now we'll just take a quick look at it because I don't want the other people to miss out on learning it. But I'd like you guys to get familiar with it anyway. Now, I got to find a good version. First thing, look on the session.org and separate out the crap. Okay. Lark in the Morning. Okay, now this one, the first one on the session.org is already looking encouraging. So let me just take a look at that. It's a fun tune. It's a great tune. And the last part of this tune is people call the most forgotten part in Irish music because it comes after the hard part. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 parted tune. Okay? And it's in the key of D. And here, I'll just play it for... Oh, wait. I'm just going to make sure this is a good version. Oh, weird. Let's see how many versions. 24 versions. Oh. You know. This looks good. Nope, weird. I often call them somebody's stupid idea.
There's also, even before you jumped into that, because I'm looking with you, Dan, there was like, it was listed 5 times, Lark in the Morning, Lark in the Morning, Lark in the Morning. So there's even more than 24. There's so many of them.
Oh, and this one here, the whoever wrote it out just didn't bother putting in the most forgotten part in Irish music.
God,
Just didn't bother.
God.
He forgot. That's right. Oh, this looks good. Okay, let me try this one. Perfect. Perfect. You know, it's
We have a winner. We have
it's
a
like
winner.
we have a winner. It's like looking for the cleanest dirty shirt in your laundry. Okay, so I'm just gonna mail it.
Okay.
So we got David, and we got Sandy. You know, Sandy. My sister's name is Sandy. She's a what do you call it? Alexandra.
Ah, I'm a Sandra.
You're a Sandra. Oh yeah.
Yep, shortened down to Sandy. It's
And then
only my mother calls me Sandra these days.
oh yeah. And then my uncle, who was a priest, had a dog, and the dog's name was Sandy.
I've been into a couple of those.
Oh yeah, and Father Hector loved Sandy like you wouldn't believe. And in fact, he had 5 dogs, and he called them all Sandy. It's like the littlest hobo. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So I'm just sending you this PDF, you guys, and I'm gonna play it while you look at it. Okay, I can share my screen. Oh, that's the banish. Hold on here. Don't you love watching people click around on computer screens? Oh, whoops. Oh, down here. Okay. Something weird happened with my computer, and it's not showing Oh, here we go. It's not showing my things in the usual order. It's really driving me nuts. Okay, so here's the Lark of the Morning. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to play it while you're looking at it. I'm going to do it again. And it's a tune where to finish it, you got to go back and play the first beat again. I play an A and a D together. So now this tune is very simple. You hear how you got common endings. And so the endings are pretty well the same for all the parts except for the very first part. And it's only slightly different there. Okay? So it's the type of tune that when you get the ending, you're going to get half the tune. And also the middle phrases are very, very similar. They either kind of do one thing or another. And so it's not going to be hard to get. The hardest thing is going to be keeping it straight. Okay, because the parts are similar, and so you got to kind of prize them apart. So what I suggest for you guys is to listen to this tune, try to figure out the phrases on your own, okay? And then next week when we have everybody, we'll go through it phrase by phrase. But it would be great for you to try to do that. Suss out the phrases on your own, see where you think the first one is and the second one is, and get the repetition and all that kind of thing, and listen to it endlessly. And next week we'll learn it together, okay? All 6 of us or whatever. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
Okay, that's enough for the 3 of you guys tonight. We'll see you next week, and we'll start working on that tune.
Thanks,
Okay.
Dan.
Nighty
Bye,
night.
Dan.
See you next week.
Take care.